Testing procedure. Leakage current test. This test measures the leakage current to the earth through impedance, which simulates the human body to determine if the measured leakage current is dangerous or hazardous. Safety precautions. If an isolating transformer is not used, the equipment should be mounted on an insulating stand or surface and appropriate safety precautions taken. There is a possibility of the body of the equipment under test, EUT, being at hazardous voltage. Specified configuration. Systems of interconnected equipment with individual connections to the AC mains supply require that each piece of equipment be tested separately. Systems of interconnected equipment with one common connection to the AC mains supply should be treated as a single piece of equipment. Equipment designed for connection to multiple power sources, only one of which is required at a time, backup for example, must be tested with only one source connected. Similarly, equipment requiring power simultaneously from two or more sources will be tested with all power sources connected. The measurement type instrument should be an electronic or direct indicating type, average responding, calibrated at 60 Hz, and indicating the RMS value of a pure sine wave with the accuracy of 5% at an indication of 0.5 milliamps. The meter needs to have a terminal-to-terminal impedance equivalent to 1,500 ohms resistance shunted by a 0.15 microfarad capacitance. If it is inconvenient to test equipment at the most unfavorable supply voltage, it is permitted to test the equipment at any available voltage within the tolerance of rated voltage or within the rated voltage range, and then calculate the results. Test apparatus. For this test, you will need an adjustable regulated AC supply of 0 to 140 or 300 volts, 50 or 60 Hz, or rated voltage applicable. A measuring instrument AC leakage current tester such as the Criterion ST06 or Simpson 229-2 or others that are based on the appropriate standards such as SPE 1000 or other Part 2 standards. An isolating transformer and selector switch, metal foil with an area of 10 cm by 20 cm for Class 2 equipment, and high voltage insulating gloves. Criterion Instruments Limited Safety Tester Model ST06 is a test set for field or plant testing of current leakage of small devices powered by 120 volts, 60 Hz. The ST06 makes complete leakage tests exactly to ANSI C101.1 as adopted by CSA and UL, and is used to test a SPE 1000 code. In this video, we will concentrate on this tester. For measurements above 120 volts, a Model 229-2 Simpson's Electric Company meter should be used. Care of leakage tester. Units are to be stored according to the manufacturer's specifications. If the equipment becomes defective, it should be tagged and processed as per FE APM number 23. Test setup and procedure, SPE 1000. The test is powered from 120 volts 60 Hz power line and tests the wiring of this input supply. If the grounding is defective or the power wires reversed, the ST06 cannot be operated. A short from the line to neutral or ground will trip the circuit breaker or blow the fuse to prevent damage to the tester. Test procedure. Ensure that all test equipment which may provide a path to the earth are disconnected from the EUT, and then a non-conductive surface is used to support or accommodate the EUT, leads, and connections. The test shall be made on conductive parts and to metal foil with an area not exceeding 10 cm by 20 cm on accessible non-conductive parts. For each position of the selector switch, any switches within the equipment and likely to be operated must be opened or closed in all possible combinations. Connect the sample to a supply voltage equal to the maximum rated voltage plus 6% if a variable supply is available, and at the highest rated frequency. Record the leakage current. Systems of interconnected equipment with individual connections to primary power need to have each piece of equipment tested separately. Systems of interconnected equipment with one common connection to primary power can be treated as a single piece of equipment. The instrument is supplied completely wired and ready for operation without special installation. Merely plug in the line cord of the test instrument into any convenient 120 volt AC line outlet. A 3-wire U-ground outlet is necessary to ensure good grounding of the instrument cabinet. This instrument incorporates a special ground sensor. Unless the outlet into which it has been plugged into is correctly wired and has a good ground, the test set will not operate, and a small red pilot lamp, line fault, will light, warning the operator that the wiring in the building is faulty. A momentary flicker of this lamp is normal when the power is turned on. If the lamp remains on, there is a wiring fault, which must be corrected before proceeding. It is dangerous to operate any equipment when there is a line fault, particularly so if there is a defective ground. The ground terminal on the panel is there to be connected to a separate good ground if required. Set the leakage current range switch to high when testing bench or fixed equipment. Full scale on the leakage current meter is about 5 milliamps, and any current greater than 3.5 milliamps will be displayed in the bad red portion of the scale, displayed in red. Set the leakage current range switch to low when testing handheld equipment. Full scale on the leakage current meter is about 0.7 milliamps, and any current greater than 0.5 milliamps will show in the bad red portion of the scale. Plug in the ST06 to any 120 volt outlet, leave the power switch to off. Connect the ground clip from the ST06 to the metal frame of the unit under test, or to the metal foil when used. Plug in the unit under test into the socket on the panel of the ST06 marked Test Outlet. The power switch on this unit should be on. Power to unit under test switch S1 on the ST06 should be off initially. Forward reverse switch S2 should be in the forward position initially. This is the normal position. Set the leakage current range switch to 5 milliamps high or 0.7 milliamps low. See specifications for an explanation of which is applicable in a particular situation. The ST06 contains all the above circuit except for the item under test and insulating table. Ground open represents the green S3 button on the ST06. Turn on the power to the ST06. If the line fault light stays on, your AC outlet is not wired properly. Try another outlet. Press the Start Test push button S3 on the ST06. If the no ground light comes on, there is a defective ground connection in the unit under test, and the test cannot proceed. It is normal for this lamp to flash momentarily and then go out. If the ground continuity is good, the test set will proceed automatically to the next test. You will hear a contactor engage. Read the leakage current on the meter. For high range, bench, or fixed machines, it must be less than 3.5 milliamps, not in the red area. For low range, handheld machines, it must be less than 0.5 milliamps, not in the red area. Release the Start Test button. Change S2 to the reverse position. Repeat the same procedure. Return S2 to the forward position and turn power to unit under test switch S1 to the on position. Repeat the same procedure. Do this for all possible switch or contactor positions on the EUT. Results: form FE, TG, Number 2L should be used to enter all details of the test and a reference to the form included in the evaluation report. Remember to enter the test results in the evaluation report, including the test performed, a description of instruments used, their identification or serial number, and their calibration due date. The test is complete. Turn off the ST06, remove the plug from the tester, and then remove the ground clip. When using the Simpson Model 229-2 unit only with no switches for the tests, the circuit and principles are essentially the same. First, check that the battery is at the right level. Then turn the instrument to the 10 mA range and gradually reduce this if leakage current is very low. With the supply ground opened and the black lead applied to the EUT enclosure or other accessible metal part, the red meter probe is applied to the neutral terminal of the EUT for each measurement. Turn on the power and make the measurement. Turn off the power. Then line 1 and 2 are reversed for the next measurement. Remember to use your high voltage gloves for these measurements if you are not able to remove power to the EUT in between measurements. Depending on whether the supply system is balanced or unbalanced and whether the identified supply conductor is connected at load or not, there are various representations of the circuit. Consult the SPE 1000 for your case. For a simple unbalanced supply, the circuit and the meter are represented as follows. Acceptance criteria. Some CSA Part 2 standards allow Class 1 stationary, permanently connected or pluggable Type B equipment with an earth leakage exceeding 3.5 milliamps, but not exceeding 5% of input current per phase, subject to the following conditions.